ever felt stuck, wondering why you can't seem to follow through? Maybe thinking something is wrong with you, and really just wanting to move forward, considering if real change is even possible? Hello, and welcome to Books to Better Your Life. If those are questions on your mind, this is the podcast for you. I'm Anne Brinkman with Better Your Life Coaching. I'm a personal growth book junkie who loves sharing my latest reads with you so you can be inspired to make change in your life. I share my takeaways from a self-development, wellness, or psychology book, then tell you how I put them into practice, and then give you a challenge to take on when you're ready. I also interview up-and-coming self-development and wellness authors to get their take on the best action-oriented and behavior change skills you can use to tackle life's challenges. Ready for change? Let's dig in. Today's book is Refuse to Choose by Barbara Sher. This book is for you if you find yourself with so many interests and are not sure what to do with all of them, or if you're feeling like you don't fit into this world of single focus, and especially if you're wondering what to do with all of that in your work life. I really admire Barbara Sher. I think she was really ahead of her time. Back in 1976, that's almost 50 years ago, she launched Success Teams, which was an 8-week program that she described as how to get what you really want, even if you have no goals, no character, and you're often in a lousy mood. Hey, this sounds a lot like coaching. I believe she was 80 years old when she did a TEDx talk, Isolation is a Dream Killer, which now has over 6 million views. This is an important book for me to cover because there are a lot of people out there who may be considering themselves as freaks or not fitting in, or not wanting to fit into this mold that others have for them, and yet they are perfectly normal. Now, I think there could be a ton of ways this can happen, and we can feel like outsiders and different from everyone, and one of these ways is talked about in this book. The idea is that of a scanner. It's someone who loves new things and has intense curiosity about many areas, often of unrelated subjects. Sometimes they're described as multi-passionates, or multi-potentialites, or a Renaissance man or woman, or sometimes when they can harness it, jack of all trades. Some of her descriptions are, I work at low-paying jobs because there's nothing I'm willing to commit to. I keep changing my mind about what I want to do and end up doing nothing. I'll never be an expert in anything. I feel like I'll always be in a survey class. I would describe this as an interest in breadth and not depth. Typically. We'll go into some of the scanner types later. Barbara Sher describes these people as scanners, and she calls them a very special type of thinker. They are not satisfied with just one area of interest. They are interested in many things. And people around you may have suggested or told you something was wrong with you and tried to get you to change. The full title is Refuse to Choose. Use all of your interests, passions, and hobbies to create the life and career of your dreams. This was published in 2006. I think this title really speaks to the impact and the inspiration she was. Even since she passed away a few years back, she still has a bustling community that she formed, and idea parties and book clubs still being organized to this day. For Barbara, her first awareness might have been the schedule of classes as she was registering for her classes at UC Berkeley. This is back when it was printed, of course, and you could pour through all the summaries. She was both overwhelmed and in love with all of the options available to her. She considers people like Leonardo da Vinci, Aristotle, Goethe, Ben Franklin as scanners. They had no qualms about exploring many different areas, and no one's tried to stop them either. It was normal. Our culture wants specialists and doesn't know what to do with generalists, aka scanners. I do think that's changing a bit with the creator economy that online tools allow for now, but not completely. If you're a scanner, you may be getting pressure from others to just choose one thing, or judgment from yourself or others on not being able to choose a single thing or find a single all-consuming passion that lasts. So many problems can come from thinking there's something wrong with you. If this idea of a scanner resonates with you, then possibly just accepting your identity as a scanner is a huge relief for you. And that's just a start. This book has many other suggestions. One idea she starts the book with is a Scanner Daybook. This is a blank book for you to capture ideas related to being a scanner. You can think of this as your version of Leonardo da Vinci's notebook. This is where you capture ideas that otherwise don't have a home and would get lost. These are for the what-ifs that may float in and out of a creative mind. This book will be my challenge for this episode, so we'll talk more about it later. In the meantime, envision it as a place to jot down all of those fun ideas, but it gives you the freedom to take them as far or not far as you want. You don't actually have to do anything besides jot them down. You may find that you start to respect the way your mind works, and as you add more, and the act of writing and recording your thoughts becomes the part that you look forward to, you may start to find these character traits of yours are actually valuable or admirable. In one of those workshops, she asked her group if they would like to have just one interest and focus on that. Of course, most people raised their hand. And then she asked, "And how would you like to do that for the rest of your life?" And the room instead is filled with shock and dread. While having that single focused interest may seem appealing, it just doesn't line up with what these people really want. So that's my first takeaway to share with you, the idea of a scanner. People may be drawn to many interests, and there is nothing wrong with that. Takeaway number 2 is the career tryout. So especially with scanners trying to find that role that fits them, considering careers may come up, and just like committing to a career may seem overwhelming or worse, the starting steps might be clear. Go to school, learn a lot, then get the job. It may be easy to do those starting steps. However, they skip an important part of finding out if that is actually a job you would enjoy in reality. The idea here is to do a career tryout instead, where you write in your Scanner Daybook what you expect of a particular job, and then you go interview someone and find out how your expectations match reality. And do we ever do this? No, I never see this almost. We might spend years planning for a job that once we get it, or once we start applying for it, then we realize we don't like and we really don't want. Takeaway number 3, reasons not to follow your scanner interests. Aren't we interesting? We have all of these interests, and yet we also put all these obstacles in the way. Some reasons you might relate to around these obstacles, if you're a scanner, are scanner panic. There are just too many things to try, so you don't do any. Or commitment phobia, not wanting to choose a career or activity for fear of making the wrong choice. But then that bites you because then you don't do anything. Or being too busy. I know most of us are. But what are we busy with when we don't need to be? I don't want to gloss over this one because I think this is the case for most people. And maybe you're actually too busy trying to control everything. Maybe this is the way you have been doing things, but there is something you can let slide, or a way you can combine those required activities with your interests. All right, continuing on the list of reasons not to follow these passions. I won't do anything if I can't do everything, or I can't get started, or I can't get finished. I wonder if you relate to any of those. Barbara has a section on each of them, and I'm not going to go into all of them right here. Could you use some support in your daily interactions, either for relaxation or a confidence boost? I create a monthly recording that gets you in the frame of mind you're looking for. Maybe that's relaxation and confidence before meeting new people or before an interview, or maybe it's helping you shift away from some negative talk. Join my recordings list at www.betteryour.life/audio. That's .life, not .com. Takeaway number 4, how to integrate that scanner personality with your working life. And I appreciate how Barbara brings it back to reality. With all this talk about doing things you love and being open to your identity, which might not just have one passion, we can't really skip talking about that bit about making money. She does have another book about I could do anything I wanted if only I knew what it was. However, in this book, she does touch on it. And she has some encouragement for how to get a paycheck as a scanner. Option 1, maybe you have many specialties and you do them in sequence, one job after another. or you do one job, but you have another interest as a hobby. Not every interest of yours needs to be a paying job. That ties into the number 2 option she provides. You can use any decent job to support you and do what you love on your own time. And this is what she calls a good enough job. Number 3 option is you can invent your own career. Combine those things you love into your own career. I feel like this is really happening these days with vloggers on YouTube, maybe the gig economy, and all the entrepreneurs out there. All right, our final takeaway. Number 5, types of scanners. Just because you're a scanner doesn't mean you're like every other kind of scanner. Barbara has several different types of scanners she identified, 11 to be exact. And let's see if you relate to one of these. And keep in mind, you may relate to more than one. Do you have several major areas that you're interested in? And then you go back and forth between them? They're never really dropped. You might be a cyclical scanner. You know what you love, and you'll go back to it again and again. Even for that, there's a few types. First up, the double agent. You are deciding between your ideal life and the one you have to have. You decide between breaking other people's hearts and dreams or your own. I can't do this because other people are counting on me. So it's that either-or problem and not finding a way to make both of those things work. Another is Sybil, being pulled in so many directions at once, like half-finished books, or a business here or there, half-finished board games, blogs. The fear here is that she'll never have anything to show for all of those interests. You might be surrounded by a lot of creative clutter in personal projects. You might not be goal-driven. You just like to muck about. Next up is a plate spinner. This is someone who likes to have a lot of projects going at once. And then there's a sequential scanner, which is someone who appreciates really getting to explore one interest and then moves on, not interested in returning to it. One of those is a serial specialist. Their work record may look like it's from many different people because it has so many jobs in it. They might love exploring the culture inside different businesses and then moving on. They are deeply immersed in that area and might not even appear to be a scanner because of that. I relate to that one for sure. Starting my career as a software engineer, then shifting into K-8 teaching, then shifting into tech support, and now taking on life coaching. All right, also is a serial master. This is someone who likes that exploration of depth, and so much so to become a master in that field. And then they want to do something else. Now, the jack of all trades is good at just about everything they try and has racked up the certificates and degrees, all in different areas. Next up is the wanderer, who gets inspiration and follows it for a week or two, and then gets inspired by something else. Similarly is the sampler. They want to try everything and don't want to do anything twice. That's me with movies. The last one Barbara lists is the high-speed indecisive. They might be all in on one subject and then jump to another. They may quickly grasp new ideas. Now, don't use these styles against yourself. With this understanding that scanner may just be a part of you, what do you want to do with that? Barbara suggests still going all in on something you love. That doesn't mean saying, I'm a scanner, so I never finish anything. It may actually mean fully committing to something and pushing past the barriers that come up. I think it means being aware of that fear of failure or the boredom of repetition and doing it anyways. These are common parts of the creation process, and you could relegate that to a scanner quality that you want to move on. See if you can differentiate those. A part of the book that I really appreciated, but I didn't really focus on, was all her community examples. I encourage you to pick up the book, as likely some of these will really pull on your heartstrings or you will see yourself in. Barbara is such a problem solver. She'll describe a client and what their exact challenges were and then explore what really worked for them to embrace their scanner side. Now, a little bit about my experience with this book. I took on the Scanner Daybook idea that she had, and I started that years ago, and it was really fun as I reread the book to pop that back open and see what was in there, and especially to find some projects that I completed. I had this an idea for, I have a tiny backyard, and I wanted to make a garden in it, and that was detailed in my book. And it's really fun to see, hey, I made that happen. Also had some random ideas, not happened yet. Nylons that are cut off at the ankle, like leggings. I know who wears nylons anymore. So you can wear these open-toed shoes without the darn nylon toe. And maybe the cutoff line has a decorative line to disguise the tan line if you have one. So you get the idea. No idea is too outlandish or silly to include in your Scanner Daybook. So with that, my challenge for you is a Scanner Daybook. Find or get a book that's pretty large, like at least 8.5 by 11. No lines, lots of space to write in, big pages. Thick book is perfect. Thinking really spacious. You can draw pictures, paste in pictures. Your explorations are really worth tracking. And in there, you can put any ideas that you come up with, projects to try, projects you've started. Really, it's up to you what you put in there. So check out the links in my show notes to get Barbara's TEDx talk, the link to her Facebook group, which is still going strong, and of course to her book. I've just started to touch on the many elements of it, and if you relate to that idea of a scanner, you may find more ways that it can help you. Let me know if you enjoyed this book. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening to Books to Better Your Life. If you could use some support on your own personal growth journey, please reach out. I'm an ICF certified life coach, and I help my clients with habits, mindset, confidence, and making what they want happen. I'm Anne Brinkman, and you can find me at www.betteryour.life. That's .life, not .com. Choose the contact option to send me a message and schedule a chat.